Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, possible Super Bowl champions. At the very least, they're going to get the opportunity to play for it against the Philadelphia Eagles just a couple of weeks from now. I gotta say, mad respect to the Kansas City Chiefs, not only against that game against the Cincinnati Bengals, because that was a masterclass performance, but just respect to the team in general. You know, they had a phenomenal year, 14-3. And I just think, honestly, I think the media kind of overplayed the Patrick Mahomes injury, but I feel like it kind of almost discredits the rest of their team. But at the same time, Patrick Mahomes is your MVP, and he also played a phenomenal game, injured or not injured, this past Sunday against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. So from top to bottom, respect to the Kansas City Chiefs organization, the coaches, the management, and especially the players, and also to the fans. They definitely showed up yesterday. So before we get into it, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button if you guys enjoy it. I post a bunch of NFL content every single day, along with at least 3 or 4 Chiefs videos every single week. Now, this one was a tough one for me because I had been covering Cincinnati along with the Kansas City Chiefs for about the same time. I didn't start covering football until about halfway through the season, and to me it was clear as day these were the best 2 teams in the National Football League. And there's a couple of things perfectly clear to me. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is extremely underrated, and they have extremely improved since the start of the season. And Patrick Mahomes is still better than Joe Burrow. Sorry, Bengals fans, all my Bengals fans. Joe Burrow is a phenomenal quarterback, but it's still Mahomes is to lose. And number 3, and most importantly, this Chiefs team is not going anywhere. This is a very impressive football roster, top to bottom. They did a phenomenal job in the draft. You have a superstar quarterback. And to be quite honest with you, I feel great about them taking down the Philadelphia Eagles on Super Bowl Sunday. Now, we have to start with Patrick Mahomes here. He solidified himself as the best quarterback in the league, 100%. Now, my thought process before this game was whoever won it, if Joe Burrow won it, if Patrick Mahomes won it, whoever it was going to be, they were going to be, as far as the media is considered, the best quarterback in the National Football League. And Joe Burrow's 2 interceptions, I will say, they're being kind of downplayed by the media. And Patrick Mahomes, he's also kind of, the media also has a hand in it. They're licking their chops at it, and it makes sense. Patrick Mahomes is a very lovable person. He's a phenomenal football talent. And even if you're not a Chiefs fan like myself, I'm a Packers fan, so thankfully I don't have to deal with either of these 2 teams unless, good problem to have, we make the Super Bowl. It's just, you got to enjoy it while it lasts. It's the same thing with Tom Brady. It's the same thing with like any great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers right now, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. Those are the ones that come to my head at first thought. Like, you just got to enjoy it while it lasts. Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal football talent. He had a great game, 29-43, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns. And, you can sit here and be like, well, yeah, that penalty at the end of the game to give the Chiefs a much easier field goal and actually give them a field goal opportunity to win the game, that won it. Well, that's fine, but at the end of the day, there were 59 other minutes left in the game. So both teams. So it wasn't necessarily pretty. Isaiah Pacheco only ran for 26 yards. You only have the Chiefs in general. They ran it 20 total times. They only had 42 yards. That's 2.1 yards per carry. It's not necessarily pretty. But at the same time, they held Joe Burrow, or actually they held the Cincinnati Bengals to a very low rushing attempt total. Joe Burrow was their leading rusher with just 30 yards. They held Joe Mixon to just 2.5 yards per carry with just 19 yards in total. Samaje Perine, 22 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. This defense was the big question mark for a lot of people. It was the big X factor. And if you've been watching my Chiefs videos for the last couple of weeks now, it's like, with a squad like Kansas City, I get it. They're ranked middle of the pack as far as defensive rating, total defensive points given up, just dead middle at 16. To me, if you were, and like people like to bring up, maybe like the Broncos game or the Raiders game, like none of that stuff matters to me, because if you're watching this game, if you were watching these games, the Chiefs defense has been improving so much. And I also have to give credit and props to the Cincinnati Bengals defense because, they really held the run. Whether it was Pacheco, whether it was Mahomes, Hardman, McKinnon, Ronald Jones even saw a carry, they did a great job protecting the run. And in general, their defense did enough to give them the ability to win the football game. So, two talented defenses going up against each other, but Kansas City's the one that was the big, for a lot of people, was the big question mark. And a lot of these guys stepped up, especially, we knew heading into the game they were number 2 in total sacks this past season. Guys like Chris Jones doing what they do best, making plays, getting the job done, rushing the quarterback, disrupting the ground game. 2 sacks for him. Frank Clark as well. That's why you pay these OG vets the big bucks. Sack and a half for him. George Karlaftis, the rookie, came through with a huge sack. Willie Gay, half sack. So, the Chiefs defense, you give up 20 points to a streaking Bengals team, that works for me. So, yeah, Mahomes played a great game. Guys like MVS, 6 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Travis Kelce, 7 catches, 78 yards. You got to keep in mind all the players that went down. Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman, it's not like Patrick Mahomes was throwing to, these bona fide Hall of Famers, I guess, outside of Travis Kelce. He still won him the game. And the defense still won him the game at the end of the day. Both sides of the football won them the football game. So, yeah, maybe 23-20 in the year 2023. Oh, wow, 2023. Maybe that's not pretty. Maybe it's not sexy, but it doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be sexy once you get into the playoffs. A win is a win. And to me, Cincinnati, this was like the Super Bowl to me. Not trying to disrespect or discredit what the Philadelphia Eagles have done this season, because it's still going to be a difficult game to win, but Cincinnati was streaking. They were hot for the most part. They were healthy. I know the offensive line is a little bit banged up, and we saw that especially yesterday, and especially in the first half, in the first quarter even. I get it, but Cincinnati was, to me, they were a top 2 team in the league, right there with Kansas City. So this is going to be a phenomenal Super Bowl. You couldn't ask for a better matchup if you're just a general football fan. And I'm excited about it. I know Chiefs fans are excited about it. And, I feel for my Bengals fan, but it is what it is. Future's still looking bright for both of these two teams. I think this game cemented the rivalry between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals as far as being these are the two teams. This is the rivalry. And, Joe Burrow 3-0, or I guess, 2-0. Bengals 3-0. I think Joe Burrow was 3-0. Bengals have had the Chiefs' number in the last, 13 months? Kansas City, they got one. They got it at home. The crowd showed up. The offense showed up. The defense showed up. The coaching showed up. So it was just a great game. You got to give credit where credit is due. And the Kansas City Chiefs are definitely my Super Bowl winner predictor. But anyways, appreciate all you guys, especially my Chiefs Kingdom who've been watching these videos since day one. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. If you're new here as well, I do post a bunch of Chiefs videos every single week. So stay tuned for those. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of the game. Peace.